a digital haze, looking for love in modern days. 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle Podcast. Yeah, 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official podcast of Speed Mingle, where we strip away the endless swiping and get straight to the real, raw human connection. I'm your host, Dawn. Now look around the modern dating landscape. The traditional roadmaps? Tossed out the window. The old-school timelines? Completely rewritten. But there is one boundary that still sparks endless debate, raises eyebrows at Sunday brunch, and floods our feeds with fierce opinions: the age gap relationship, the new rules of engagement. Historically, we all know the cliché tropes, but in the 21st century, shifting cultural dynamics, financial independence, and a radical redefinition of partnership have flipped the script. It's no longer just about a number. It's about power, emotional maturity, and what happens when two entirely different generational realities collide under one roof. In today's episode, The Age Gap Divide: How Gender and Generation Rewrite the Rules of Love, we are pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to bridge the years. What we are unpacking today: the gender double standard. Why is a younger man dating an older woman labeled a cougar dynamic, while the reverse is often dismissed as a classic provider archetype? We're tackling how modern gender roles are actively dismantling these stigmas. Generational culture clashes. What happens when your partner's childhood nostalgia involves VHS tapes and dial-up internet, and yours is rooted in TikTok and the metaverse? We look at how disparate cultural touchstones impact daily intimacy. The power dynamic shift, how couples successfully navigate differences in financial stability, career milestones, and life stages without creating an accidental hierarchy. The big question: is age truly just a number when it comes to long-term compatibility, or are generational divides an invisible fault line waiting to fracture? Whether you are currently dating across generations, fiercely opposed to it, or just trying to figure out why your speed mingling preferences keep shifting, this episode is your ultimate guide. Pour yourself a drink, reset your expectations, and let's dive in. While the conventional romantic idiom posits that age is just a number, contemporary demographic indicators demonstrate that chronological parameters in partner selection are heavily contingent upon both biological sex and generational cohort. Modern dating boundaries are undergoing significant recalibration, driven by disparate socioeconomic realities, evolving cultural norms, and structural gender dynamics. An examination of empirical data from the Pew Research Center, the Institute for Family Studies, IF, and current sociological inquiries into age asymmetric partnerships reveals that the permissible chronological boundaries for romantic partners diverge markedly, based on the respondent's demographic profile and historical cohort. The transition from the hyper-traditional desires of baby boomers navigating late-stage singlehood to the cautious, peer-to-peer egalitarian paradigm preferred by Generation Z underscores a profound structural shift in the contemporary mating market. A pronounced dichotomy exists between abstract societal acceptance of age gap relationships and actualized behavioral preferences. Longitudinal data compiled by Ipsos reveals a compelling baseline paradox. While approximately 39% of American adults report having historically engaged in a romantic relationship characterized by an age differential of 10 or more years, the vast majority of active couples remain clustered within a remarkably narrow chronological window. Furthermore, public perception continues to reflect a deeply entrenched gender double standard regarding age asymmetry. The sociological landscape of age gap relationships reveals deep-seated cultural divisions in public perception, as evidenced by the sharp contrast between traditional and non-traditional partnership dynamics. Relationships characterized by hypergenous or traditional age gaps, where men date partners who are 10 or more years their junior, enjoy a robust societal approval rating of 71%. This widespread acceptance is heavily reinforced by deeply entrenched historical norms and evolutionary psychology models, which traditionally frame these pairings as a classic exchange of male-driven socioeconomic resources for female youth and reproductive longevity. Because society has long normalized this specific power and resource dynamic, these relationships face minimal friction in the public eye and are frequently validated as standard relationship trajectories. In stark contrast, hypogynous or non-traditional age gaps, where women date partners 10 or more years younger, face a significantly cooler reception, pulling in a noticeably lower societal approval rating of 60%. The primary sociological driver behind this lower tolerance is a persistent double standard rooted in lingering social stigma and ancient gender paradigms. Even though modern women have achieved unprecedented levels of financial independence, institutional power, and economic autonomy, effectively shifting the traditional reliance on male resource hoarding, the cultural narrative surrounding older women with younger men remains fraught with skepticism. Society continues to scrutinize these non-traditional pairings through a critical lens, demonstrating that public comfort levels with romantic power dynamics lag far behind the realities of modern economic equality. The motivational architecture underlying these choices also varies significantly by direction. Relationships oriented upward, dating older. Individual motivations are heavily predicated upon sought-after psychological attributes, with 55% of respondents citing advanced emotional maturity and 44% emphasizing socioeconomic stability and financial autonomy. Relationships oriented downward, dating younger. Individual motivations shift primarily toward aesthetic and lifestyle variables, with 39% of respondents prioritizing physical attractiveness, vitality, and alignment regarding recreational adventure. Generational stratification and gendered cohort analysis. The evolution of accepted chronological windows becomes distinct when analyzed across generations. The parameters shift from tight, insular peer-to-peer networks during youth into asymmetrical, highly polarized boundaries in late adulthood. Generation Z, cohorts born late 1990s, early 2010s. Generation Z is currently navigating a structural phenomenon characterized by sociologists as a relationship recession. Pew Research data indicates a severe demographic imbalance in self-reported relationship status. 63% of men under the age of 30 report being unpartnered, contrasted with a mere 34% of young women within the same age cohort. This statistical divergence indicates that a substantial proportion of young women are selecting upward into the millennial demographic. Gen Z women, their acceptable romantic range extends almost exclusively upward, +3 to +7 years, driven by a search for socioeconomic stability. Conversely, their willingness to date downward is statistically negligible. This cohort exhibits acute sensitivity to interpersonal power dynamics, frequently pathologizing large age gaps as inherently exploitative or unequal. Gen Z men. This demographic exhibits the most restricted dating parameters of any group studied, maintaining a highly insular window that rarely deviates beyond 0 to 2 years from their own chronological age. Millennials, cohorts born 1981 to 1996. As the primary demographic utilizing digital matchmaking platforms, millennials are institutionalizing more fluid age parameters. This shift is largely a byproduct of delaying traditional milestones. The median age of first marriage has reached historic heights, climbing to 30 years for men and 28 years for women. Millennial women. This group demonstrates a highly deliberate, pragmatic approach, restricting their search filters to a tight configuration of 2 years younger to 5 years older. Their primary criteria center on explicit life stage alignment, including mutual readiness for legal marriage and family formation. Millennial men. Within this cohort, the downward expansion of dating parameters begins to manifest. A typical 35-year-old millennial male routinely extends his digital matchmaking filters to include women in their late 20s, establishing an operational range of approximately 7 years younger to 2 years older. Millennials. Cohorts born 1981 to 1996. As the primary demographic utilizing digital matchmaking platforms, millennials are institutionalizing more fluid age parameters. This shift is largely a byproduct of delaying traditional milestones. The median age of first marriage has reached historic heights, climbing to 30 years for men and 28 years for women. Millennial women. This group demonstrates a highly deliberate, pragmatic approach, restricting their search filters to a tight configuration of 2 years younger to 5 years older. Their primary criteria center on explicit life stage alignment, including mutual readiness for legal marriage and family formation. Millennial men. Within this cohort, the downward expansion of dating parameters begins to manifest. A typical 35-year-old millennial male routinely extends his digital matchmaking filters to include women in their late 20s, establishing an operational range of approximately 7 years younger to 2 years older. Gen X, 1965 to 1980. The midlife dating shift. About 48% of Gen Xers have been divorced, meaning a huge portion of this generation is back on the market in midlife, and the rules have changed. They aren't as obsessed with dating apps as millennials or Gen Z, preferring to meet people the old-fashioned way, through friends and organic connections. The women, fiercely independent Gen X women, are breaking old dating norms. While many still date slightly older men, there's been a massive spike in women open to younger partners, setting their comfort zone anywhere from 5 years younger to 7 years older. The men, this is where the age gap really widens. Gen X men are highly open to dating younger, often looking for partners 10 to 12 years their junior. On the flip side, they rarely date women more than 2 or 3 years older than themselves. Baby boomers. Cohorts born 1946 to 1964. Romantic realignments in late adulthood are severely constrained by demographic realities, specifically disparate life expectancies between the sexes. Consequently, 39% of women over the age of 65 are unpartnered, compared to only 25% of men within the identical age bracket. Boomer women, their partner selection range is almost exclusively peer-focused or marginally upward, +0 to +5 years. Locating a partner sharing a synchronous retirement lifestyle and health status remains their paramount objective. Boomer men, this group commands the widest statistical dating range in the modern ecosystem. Data from evolutionary psychology and digital platforms demonstrates that even as men progress into their 7th and 8th decades, their baseline visual and romantic preferences often remain anchored to women decades younger. While their stated preferences target significant disparities, their actualized partnerships typically stabilize within a 5 to 15-year downward differential. When data scientists isolate stated partner preferences and cross-reference them with actualized marital and cohabitative outcomes, a distinct biological and sociological trendline emerges. Stated desires frequently undergo significant compromise when subjected to market constraints. The following table contextualizes the divergence between the boundaries individuals explicitly state they desire versus the compromises they ultimately accept in real-world partnerships. An examination of empirical demographic data highlights a profound divergence between the abstract romantic preferences people express and the actualized relationship outcomes they secure, with these patterns heavily moderated by both biological sex and age cohort. For young women aged 25 and under, romantic parameters are strictly bounded at the lower end by a preferred junior limit of 0 years, establishing a firm chronological baseline that rejects younger partners. Conversely, their stated senior preference extends up to 5 years older, reflecting a traditional hypergenous desire for partners who possess greater life experience, emotional maturity, and socioeconomic stability. When these aspirations meet the realities of the competitive dating market, the resulting actualized relationship outcome settles at a median compromise of 2.5 years older, indicating that young women successfully navigate a middle ground between peer-level socialization and their upward romantic ideals. In contrast, older women aged 50 and above exhibit a much more nuanced, bidirectional matrix of attraction that challenges conventional relationship paradigms. This cohort demonstrates an increased hypogynous openness, stating a preferred junior limit of up to 5 years younger, which sociologists link to rising female financial autonomy and a rejection of outdated patriarchal age structures. Simultaneously, they maintain a highly conservative senior upper limit of just 3 years older, showing a distinct reluctance to partner with men who are significantly advanced in years. Despite this stated willingness to date younger men, prevailing cultural scripts and demographic availability ultimately pull their actualized relationships slightly upward, resulting in a mean outcome of 1.5 years older, showing that while older women open the door to younger partners, their realized partnerships still skew marginally senior. When analyzing the male demographics, young men aged 25 and under display the most rigid adherence to strict age parity of any surveyed group. Their stated preferences are incredibly compact. They establish a firm junior baseline of 0 years, unwilling to look younger than their immediate peer group, while maintaining a marginal senior tolerance of up to 3 years older. This highly compressed preference window translates almost perfectly into the real world, culminating in an actualized relationship outcome of complete chronological parity, where the mean age gap rounds to 0. This phenomenon suggests that during the formative stages of early adulthood, shared cultural touchpoints, concurrent educational or early career milestones, and mutual socialization completely dominate the partner selection process for young men. This youthful adherence to peer-to-peer dating undergoes a radical transformation as men age, culminating in a dramatic widening of parameters among older men aged 50 and above. This demographic cohort articulates a substantial youth preference, setting a preferred junior limit that plunges to 10 years younger, representing the largest downward variance of any demographic group studied. This deep downward extension stands in stark contrast to their highly restricted senior tolerance, which caps their preferred oldest partner at a mere 2 years beyond their own age. When these preferences interact with the contemporary dating ecosystem, older men achieve a highly significant realized youth gap, with their mean actualized relationship outcome landing at 6.5 years younger. This substantial gap underscores a persistent socio-biological trend, where aging men leverage accumulated wealth, status, and social capital to secure younger partners, structurally altering the demographic landscape of late-life dating. For young women under the age of 25, romantic boundaries are oriented firmly upward. Their acceptable lower threshold stops abruptly at their current age, while their desired upper limit extends a modest 5 years older. In practice, real-world data demonstrates that this demographic successfully splits this variance, averaging a real-world partnership gap of 2.5 years older. Conversely, older women aged 50 and above display a more balanced, Bidirectional preference. This demographic is willing to look significantly younger than their junior peers, setting a preferred lower limit of 5 years younger and an upper limit of 3 years older. Despite this pronounced conceptual openness to younger men, structural matching trends and availability in the dating pool still pull them slightly upward, resulting in an average real-world gap of 1.5 years older. On the opposing side of the dating ecosystem, men's preferences diverge exponentially as they mature. Young men under the age of 25 maintain narrow, symmetric parameters, setting their preferred lower limit at their own age and their upper limit at just 3 years senior. This tight window results in high romantic symmetry. Their average real-world gap achieves complete parity, zero difference, meaning they primarily marry or partner with strict peers. However, as men cross into the 50 and above demographic, their parameters stretch downward. Older men establish an ideal preferred lower limit of 10 years younger, contrasted with a highly conservative upper limit of just 2 years older than themselves. While their stated preference targets a full decade's difference, real-world supply constraints and social friction compromise this desire, with older men securing an average real-world gap of 6.5 years younger. The overarching sociological takeaway is clear. Across virtually all generations and cohorts, women report a significantly narrower preferred age range than their male counterparts. A man's acceptable dating bracket widens exponentially as an explicitly linear function of his chronological age. While older men continue to consider significantly younger partners, their upper limit simultaneously expands to include their chronological peers. Consequently, as a man ages, he casts the largest overall statistical net in the mating market, while the demographic parameters for women remain constrained by life stage synchronization and structural availability. And with that, my friends, we are officially putting a lid on today's deep dive into the age gap divide. If there is one definitive takeaway from the hours of conversation, data, and real-life stories we have dissected today, it is this. In the 21st century romantic arena, a flourishing relationship cannot be quantified by a birth certificate, nor can its success be predicted by a generational label. True romantic sustainability is a function of alignment. When you deliberately strip away the societal side-eye, the unsolicited opinions at the Sunday brunch table, and the limiting architecture of conventional dating algorithms, a thriving partnership across generations reveals its core components: shared values, radical emotional maturity, and unwavering mutual respect. What our exploration today has proven is that the archaic, rigid rules of engagement are officially obsolete. Redefining equity. When we look at a younger man and an older woman navigating a partnership today, they aren't just shattering lingering social stigmas, they are actively rewriting the blueprint for what emotional equity and shared power look like. Dismantling power struggles. Similarly, couples featuring an older partner and a younger partner are no longer bound to historical transactional power dynamics. They are proving that significant differences in financial maturity and career milestones can be successfully integrated when approached with absolute transparency instead of ego. To be completely fair, bridging these generational gaps can be absolutely hilarious and, at times, exhausting. It requires translating hyper-specific cultural references, explaining the quirks of long-dead technology, and consistently defending your romantic choices to well-meaning friends and family. However, if you possess the clarity to look past disparate personal timelines and find a partner who meets you with equal intensity exactly where you are today, that age gap ceases to be a liability. It becomes your unfair advantage. It becomes a superpower. For everyone listening who is preparing to step into the speed mingling arena or updating their digital dating profiles tonight, I have a direct challenge for you. Take a hard, analytical look at your search filters and ask yourself a serious question. Is that age perimeter you've locked in truly a non-negotiable boundary for core compatibility? Or is it merely a psychological comfort zone constructed out of societal expectations? Do not allow an arbitrary number to block you from a profound connection that has the potential to completely rewrite your romantic narrative. Keep an open mind. Communicate with fierce intentionality, and always remember that true maturity is a psychological mindset, not a chronological milestone. As the official podcast of Speed Mingle, we don't just talk about the shifting dynamics of modern love, we build the infrastructure to navigate them. Speed Mingle is strategically engineered to offer the efficient frontier for this brand new era of human connection. Our comprehensive ecosystem provides a suite of advanced tools designed to minimize interpersonal risk and maximize opportunities for genuine, high-yield connection, moving users completely beyond the paralysis of aimless swiping and directly into the formation of substantive, real-world relationships. We are currently transforming the architecture of digital courtship through 4 distinct, intentional, and highly efficient modalities. The contemporary dating landscape is experiencing a massive behavioral shift as single adults reject the superficiality of traditional digital platforms in favor of more intentional, high-fidelity modalities. Meeting this demand immediately is Speed Mingle Anywhere, an innovative virtual solution that is available now to facilitate authentic, high-definition, face-to-face video interactions directly from the safety and comfort of your private setting. By replacing static profiles with real-time human presence, this modality instantly overcomes the systemic burnout, ghosting, and deception often associated with anonymous photo swiping. For those seeking fluid, in-person connections without the pressure of formalized dating structures, the ecosystem is expanding to include Speed Mingle Social. Launching this week in select metropolitan markets, this framework offers relaxed, non-hosted weekly gatherings at premier local venues. These casual meetups are structurally engineered to provide low-stakes environments, allowing singles to engage in spontaneous, informal networking and rapid chemistry checks within a comfortable group dynamic. Complementing these casual gatherings are highly structured experiential options designed for individuals who prefer activity-based socialization. Available now in your area, Speed Mingle Happenings features meticulously curated, dynamic, and immersive real-life events that range from interactive workshops to outdoor excursions. These experiences are specifically engineered to foster natural, unforced engagement, leveraging shared activities to ignite an organic romantic spark while completely bypassing the awkward, repetitive small talk that characterizes traditional first dates. Finally, for individuals seeking an elite, deeply customized approach to partnership, the portfolio will debut Speed Mingle 1-to-1 in the summer of 2026. This premium service provides highly personalized, low-pressure, one-on-one introductions with local singles who have been pre-vetted for alignment across lifestyle interests, future goals, and core values. By shifting the focus from volume to precision, this ultimate modality ensures a highly efficient, targeted route toward foundational compatibility and long-term relationship success. Our core philosophical commitment is to offer diverse, high-value asset classes for human connection, effectively preventing you from concentrating all your emotional capital into a single, exhausting dating strategy. Whether your lifestyle demands the immediate efficiency of our premier online platform, the vibrant energy of a curated live event, the precision of a personalized meeting, or the casual nature of a spontaneous social gathering, Speed Mingle delivers a tailored strategy optimized for your specific dating preferences. At the end of the day, a highly successful relational portfolio is always predicated upon two non-negotiable factors: absolute intentionality and genuine, unfiltered connection. Headphone listen on the go. You can find your preferred audio match and stream every single episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, or Deezer. TV watch on Speed Mingle TV. If you prefer to see the body language and catch the full studio experience, access our premium video content on YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. Simply search for Speed Mingle TV Network within the Apps and Games interface. The HRB TV Network, our parent company's dedicated global broadcast channel. Fire, engage, and subscribe. Don't get left behind in the dating dark ages. Secure your VIP access to all future segments, exclusive bonus cuts, and community forums directly at our digital headquarters. Right finger 21st Century Dating Decoded.riverside.com. Support the show and optimize your network. If you valued the insights from today's discourse, and if our breakdown on abandoning prescribed, outdated dating narratives helped you gain clarity, we ask that you take immediate action to support the movement. Activate the subscription button on your preferred platform right now so you never miss a strategic update. Provide a 5-star review and write a quick comment to assist other growth-minded listeners in discovering our program. Share this specific episode link with an acquaintance who desperately needs it, specifically that friend who continues to utilize an outdated, poorly illuminated corporate headshot from 5 years ago, enhanced with an expired digital filter. Forward them the link. Their future romantic prospects will profoundly thank you for the intervention. Furthermore, we strongly encourage you to stop passive listening and take real-world action. Secure your reservation at an upcoming Speed Mingle live event occurring in your vicinity this week. Take the initiative to mix, match, and mingle to radically enhance your personal social portfolio. Thank you for your loyalty, your listenership, and your viewership of 21st Century Dating Decoded. Until our subsequent episode hits your feed, remain deliberate in your choices. Maintain your emotional and personal protection, and consistently date with a defined, unshakable purpose.
Thank you for listening and watching 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle podcast.
On the new Speed Mingle TV network.